Shalom, 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 everybody. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, y'all? Come on in. Come on in. Shalom. Shalom, shalom. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's up? What's going on? Blessings to you all. Blessings to you all. Shalom, 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 shalom. Greetings, greetings, grace to you all. Blessings to everybody that is out there who's tuning in. And want to talk to y'all really quick about some things. Just the title of this live is, how do you use your time? I think that's very important that people understand in the day and age. Using your time, how do you apply your sitting time? That is very, 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 very key, because all of us are going to come to a place at some point in time throughout our journey where we have time where it seems as though nothing is happening for us. Like nothing is happening. It seemed like we're in a drought. Sometimes we even ask questions like, "Yo, what's going on, God? Are you see what's going on?" It seems as though you aren't advancing in any kind of way or anything like that. Grace and peace, brother. Boom Church. We gonna have. Oh yeah, that's right, brother Jason Brown. What's going on with you, man? Grace to you as well, my kingdom brother. And so, we come to this place in time where we have, it seems as though nothing has happened for us. It's like, man, you don't know which way to go. This is the most pivotal and importance of time that you do not misinterpret, okay? I want y'all to listen to what I'm saying. I want you to listen to exactly what I'm telling you right now, okay? The question is, because this live is about, how do you use your sitting time, okay? How do you use your sitting time? I want to try to get as many people in here as possible. I know others is going to be tuning in and watching after I get off. The question is, how do you use your sitting time? That time in that space where it seems as though nothing is happening for you. And I can't believe I'm doing this Hebrew. Y'all know how it is. Like, oh man, we want some scripture. But there's a practical element to understanding life. Life is based off practical principles as well as spiritual principles, okay? You have to understand practical, okay, and spiritual. You be in the world, but be not of the world. You're in a practical world where there's spiritual elements that are going on. So sometimes you have to make a rational decision that doesn't require you to seek the Most High Spirit on the decision. There's some decisions that the Most High say, why are you even asking me this question when you have been given common sense to be able to answer this question without even needing my spiritual guidance, okay? And so this is the most pivotal moment in time, okay? That span of time, that space where it seems as though nothing is absolutely happening for you. Period. This is the most important time that you do not misinterpret, okay? Because of the fact many people, oftentimes in that time, in that span, in that space where it seems as though nothing is happening, they misinterpret it and they shift and they start following other things that seems to be popping. This is very vital for many of you. It seems as though, okay, well, man, it seems like everybody is over here. This is what everybody's doing. Let me jump on this. Let me do it. It seems as though, and you start following that when that is not your path. That is not your path. But you misinterpreted your sitting time. The most important thing that you do during your sitting time is to continue to prepare. Now, before you get to the preparation, before you get to the sitting time, you have to even know your path and what you're called to. These are things that you have to know. And people say, well, I don't know my calling. I don't know what I'm supposed to. Yes, you do. And I'm going to tell you how you know. When you start asking these questions about what am I called to do, what is my path, the first place that you go, okay, you have to become an investigator, okay? When people commit crimes, serial killers or mass murderers and people of this sort, the first thing the investigator does is go look at their history, okay? I want y'all to listen to me very carefully, okay? Very careful. This is definitely going to be some wisdom that's going to help you. You have to look at your history, okay? I'm not talking about your nationality and this is stuff you already know, okay? No, go look at the history of your upbringing. Go look at all of the talents and all the gifts and remember all of the voices. You got to reach way back to when you was a kid, okay? Reach way back. Peace and blessings to you as well, brother Eric. Reach way back into your history of time. And if you were the one at the cookout, or you were the one that mama always asked you to come up here, baby, and dance for us, entertain us. And all of a sudden, this was something that you enjoyed to do, enjoyed being. This is also a part of your spiritual development because most of us who aren't afraid, aren't shy, or anything of that nature, we love to be in front of people. Many of us become the great evangelists, okay? Many of us become the great evangelists of today, all right? Shalom to you as well, Sister Martha. Many of us become those as a tool in the Most High hand to be able to go in front of people. We don't find any strangers. We could talk to someone in the mall and we just met them an hour ago and people think we've known them forever. But the thing is, if you were the one, you have to reach back into history of your upbringing and go identify all of the traits and all of the qualities, okay, that throughout your childhood all the way up to your adult life. And there is a pattern that's there that helps you kick off the understanding of your path and how the Father will use you during that time for his purposes, for his glory. But not only that, but also in the practical world. Many of us become the best and the greatest physicians and doctors and IT people and all that type of stuff because when you go look at a person's background and they go reach back into the time of history and they begin to look at their life, they were always into computers and always into this stuff. You just don't wake up the day today and say, I want to be a techie. I want to be someone in computers, or you don't wake up and do that. It just doesn't hit you right then. It doesn't hit you when you're 40 years old. No, you were involved and you love being involved with technology and all of these things from a time you was a child. These things are already deposited into you. Most people don't know what their calling is or who they're called to. It's simply because they don't reach back into span of time to find out who they are. You're trying to figure out who you are based off the people around you. You cannot determine who you are or your path or who you called to be if you're going to determine that based off the people around you. Because many of us didn't grow up with the same path. Many of us didn't grow up with the same path. Your upbringing is a part of your calling. You cannot confuse your sitting time with your preparation time. Yes, it seems like ain't nothing happening for you. It seems like ain't nothing going on. You have to appreciate every second because as time go by, you can't get it back. You have to appreciate every minute, every second of your sitting time. Because most people are going to think when things erupt for you, they're going to automatically think that you just came up and you just came up out of nowhere. But nobody got a chance to see your process when you were sitting when nobody knew you. But here's the thing, and we have a saying that we say all the time. The Most High is a respecter of faithfulness. So during the time where it seems like ain't nothing going on, you're not moping around, you're not complaining, you're not crying. Now, yes, there's a reality where you're like, man, I know what's going on, my brother Troy Edwards. There's a time where I know it, man. I know I got to be doing this. But those who make it, let's look at the practical world, okay? Let's look at the practical. Let's get beyond the spirit world. Let's not even have that conversation. Look at the practical world. People who don't even believe in the Bible and don't believe in God, oftentimes those people are so driven to the point to where they're willing, okay? They are willing, shalom, Brother Tony, they are willing to sell their houses, sell their cars. Now, see, I'm taking you out of the spirit understanding because all we'll do is throw the devil on them. I ain't talking about that. This conversation has nothing to do with the devil, okay? Let's just get that out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. This conversation has nothing to do with the devil. Let's take an atheist like Ted Turner or someone like Bill Gates or people of that nature. Yes, there is an element to hard work. There's an element to hard work. There are people, okay? There are people who are believers that work hard and are successful because they just did not depend on the God element. They understood that in order for me to be successful, I have to partner with the Most High. I'm not just going to depend on him to open doors for me, but I'm going to show him my appreciation that I believe that he can do it by simply doing my part. So therefore, I'm not going to sit around and mope around. Yes, the greatest time is when people don't know you. Those are the greatest times where you can be, because when things start blowing up and popping off, you're not going to have time to do a lot of things that you used to. So get in as much as possible that you can get in with the Most High, and get in as much as possible that you can get in on understanding your craft, okay, and understanding all of these things, okay? Understand all of these things. Get all of that in and you're understanding what you're called to be, who you're called to be. Start studying these things. Look at the lane. Go study the people that you mirror. Don't study everybody else that seem to be successful and you start wanting to change your thing and do your thing because it seemed to be the path. I've made that mistake in college. Make that mistake in college. Oh, man, it seemed like computer science. It seemed like everybody jumping off. That's what seemed like going on. Everybody getting the jobs, doing computer science and all these other things. And then I switched my major from sports medicine to try to deal with computer science. And guess what? Guess what happened? Guess what happened? Failed miserably. Because I didn't even have the desire and the drive to do the things that it took that the people who was taking computer science could get to. I didn't have that drive. But guess what? My passion was sports. I was an athlete. So therefore, my passion was geared to that. And the tools that I was blessed with was geared to that. So if the tools that I'm blessed with, that's majority of the time, your passion is going to be connected to the tools that you're blessed with. But if you're trying to do something that everybody else doing, and it seems like everybody else is being successful, and so you want to run over here and do that, you're going to find yourself every 5 years changing your direction. And the Most High going to sit back and look at you like, this is your fault, it's not mine, and I'm not going to rescue you because you made those decisions. You have to spend your time, your sitting time, in preparing. Don't misinterpret it. Don't ever think that it's not going to pop off for you. It will pop off for you. It will pop off for you. But there is what's called timing. All of us have a date set that is called timing. We don't know when that is. But what I can tell you is this. is that the time that I sat, all of a sudden during the sitting time, when it does pop off for you, you're going to be still rolling like a machine. You're going to be rolling. Shalom to everybody tuning in. You're going to be rolling like a fine oil machine because you just didn't start rolling and getting stuff in place when you started popping off. But no, you had been preparing during the time and the preparation time and the sitting time. You had been preparing when nobody else could see, when nobody else knew your name, when nobody else knew the work that you was putting in. This is why you see the greats become great, because during the time, okay, just because Michael Jordan had gifts, he had talent, Kobe Bryant had gifts and had talent, but during the time while everybody was sleeping, they were working. They did not confuse their sitting time. When Kobe Bryant, he just didn't come out of high school and come straight into the league and became a superstar. No, it took 2 or 3 years for him to become a starter. He had to sit behind somebody else. But guess what? He did not confuse his sitting time. He was preparing and in the gym, getting it on, while everybody else going out because they started, they done made it, if they popping off, they blowing up and all this stuff. Your work ethic does not start when you blow up. Your work ethic begins when nobody see you, when you're the only one in the gym, when you're the only one staying up late at night. When you staying up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, studying, researching, doing all these things, preparing, taking notes, planning out your journey. When you do all these things at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you got to get up and go to work at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, okay? Everybody else is sleeping because they're thinking they're putting more time into the job that they're working on than into their destiny. And so what ended up happening? The people, it seemed like, oh man, how did she blow up like that? And she came from nowhere. No, she didn't come from nowhere. You just didn't see her sitting time. You didn't see his sitting time because he didn't confuse with his sitting time. She didn't confuse her sitting time with her preparation time. He understood. While I'm sitting, I'm going to prepare like no other, because guess what? When you preparing while you sitting, those are the times you're able to watch everybody else's errors. While you sitting and you preparing, you're able to watch everybody else's errors and you learn what not to do. You learn what not to do and you take their errors and you apply it. You say, oh, wait a minute. I got this same error written down. I got this same error prepared. No, I'm not going to take that journey. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. So while you're sitting, it gives you the advantage to watch others. While you're sitting, it gives you the advantage to be able to build and understand your direction where you're going. So people don't get a chance to see your errors publicly. People don't get a chance to see your errors publicly when you're sitting, when you're preparing. But guess what? It is the greatest vantage point. This is why the Most High could have Moses to leave Egypt and go off into the wilderness. That was his preparation. Because he prepared him in the wilderness away from the Egyptians and away from Pharaoh and away from his people. But when he came on the scene, when it's time for him to blow up, it seemed like he just came out of nowhere. But when he showed up, he was a different version of himself. He no longer looked like the Egyptians. He no longer acted like the Egyptians. He no longer talked like he was a different version of himself. He was better than them. He was not an obsolete version, but he was more advanced. Yes, they were able to do some things that he did, but he superseded that. You're gonna always have the McDonald's and you're gonna always have the Burger King. But at the end of the day, McDonald's ain't flame broiled. They don't put their thing on the grill like that. Okay? They don't put their stuff on the grill like that. All right? You ain't seeing no charred burgers on their sandwiches. Okay? So if you want something real, you might as well go ahead on and appreciate the time of sitting and watch everybody else and learn from their errors and their flaws and the things that they're doing incorrect, and you don't do that. And all of a sudden, it looks like as though you're an anomaly. You're not an anomaly. You're not an anomaly. You're a better version of everybody else. You're a better version of everybody else. So you're not an anomaly. You're not strange. You're normal. You're just a better version. And this is what end up happening with people who confuse their sitting time with their preparation time. They mope and they complain and they do all of these things and they try to be like everybody else because they think that's the quick fix and that's the quick path. And it's not. It's not the quick fix. It's not the quick path. But you ought to be appreciative to the Most High God for allowing you to sit. He didn't take his disciples to say, hey, come follow me, and then the next day go out. No, they sat and they prepared and they was able to watch and see and become a better version of the Pharisees. They became a better version. They became a better version. The Pharisees running out batteries. But the apostles, they became rechargeables. They became rechargeable. They had a jack in their back that at any time their battery get low, you can plug up a portable charger. They became a better version. Versus the Pharisees, who always had to have an outlet to plug up in. And if they didn't have an outlet to plug up in, they died. So I want to give this to you. I want to share this with you today because I believe that we have to understand the practical elements in life. Everybody want to be so deep and so spiritual and don't understand that there are practical elements to this life that we live. Some of the most spiritual people don't even understand their calling. Some of the most spiritual people don't even understand the lane that they walk in. They're too busy trying to be like somebody else. Yes, they're talented, they're gifted, but they're too busy trying to be like somebody else. Don't spend your time watching other people on live and YouTube and don't spend that time with the Most High by yourself. You can glean from people. Ain't nothing wrong with gleaning from people. Ain't nothing wrong with taking certain, but they should not become your primary source. People should not become your primary source. Reach back into history. Look at history and say, man, when I was a kid, this happened. When I became a teenager, this happened. I had these gifts and these talents when I was a child. I had these gifts and talent when I became a teenager, when I became a young adult, these gifts and talents. People always, because no matter where you go, people are going to say, man, there's something about you with this. And you remember that. Because when you're a toddler, they're going to say it. When you become a child, a teenager, they're going to say it. When you become a young adult, they're going to say it. It's always a specific area that you focus on. And here's the thing. You cannot be covetous. You cannot be covetous of other people's gifts. You cannot become covetous of other people's gifts. Because their upbringing was different than yours, which requires them to have that gift. Which requires them to walk in that office. Which requires them to understand that their path and their calling is different from yours. But when you try to, and you be covetous and you try their path, hey, let me tell you something. Everybody, how many people you seen when Michael Jordan was playing? It got so bad, they came up with a song, I Want to Be Like Mike. You got people out there trying to do all his moves, but you can't do his moves. You can't do it effectively. You can imitate it, but it won't be effective. You will not become great doing Mike. And a whole lot of people thought they could be. So how are you using your sitting time? Appreciate every minute, every second of your sitting and nobody know who you are. Don't be so anxious to jump out here before you're ready, before you're fully developed, before you've processed yourself, before you found out who you are in the practical world and in the spiritual world. Learn who you are. In the practical world, Hamashiach, he's a tent maker. But in the spiritual world, he's the king. In the practical world, Peter was a fisherman. In the spiritual world, he became the rock. There's practical and there's spiritual. And it's bad when you don't know who you are in the practical world and the spiritual world. That's bad. And many of you had enough time to learn at least one of them. At least one of them. So I leave you with this. Grace to you all. Shalom to you all. Love all of y'all with the love of Hamashiach. I pray that you cannot eat without eating from the word of Yah. For man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yah. I pray that you cannot drink without drinking from the living waters that flows from Christ. Let the light that is within you shine bright outside of you. And remember to love one another so that the world may know that we serve the true and living Yah. Remember, do not confuse your sitting time with your preparation time. And make sure you maximize on your sitting time and learn. Use that time to learn, develop, and grow. Until next time, I love y'all of y'all with the love of Christ. Boom Church, out.